Xbox's showcase for Summer Games Fest was pretty damn impressive, and in my opinion shows how a good showcase can change the perception around a company and a lot of their games. Now, of course, this doesn't erase all of the problems that are happening in the industry, of which Microsoft Xbox is a big example of, including the closing of things like Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin, as much as Xbox did erase those studios though. A showcase like this, in my opinion, elevates some of the more middling games in the pack because of the quality that surrounds them. And it makes the worst parts of the show a lot more forgettable, in the sense that even though they were terrible, we don't talk about them nearly as much as we talk about the good. And I was originally going to include the Xbox showcase in a bigger video that was going to be the overall winners and losers of Summer Games Fest, because I think there's a lot of interesting themes surrounding the industry at large that are happening here, that we are talking about within Summer Games Fest. But I did dedicate an entire video to State of Play, which had basically not much of note. So I thought it was pretty unfair of me to not give a full video to all of the positive things that I want to say about the Xbox showcase. So hi, I'm Mugthief, welcome to the channel. I'm going to give you my opinions and hopefully highlight some interesting parts about the Xbox showcase. I hope you have a good time. Now, as one should, they started off the showcase very strong with Doom: The Dark Ages. And I think that at this point in time, Doom for me, modern Doom at least, is kind of like pizza. Even at its worst, it's still pizza. Now, there were rumors circulating for a long time of Doom Year Zero. It was going to be this medieval-style Doom game. I didn't know how that was going to look, but damn was I impressed. I was going to be happy with pretty much anything just because it was Doom, but Doom Guy, they gave the Slayer a Dark Souls parry. They also gave him a gun that shreds skulls and shoots them out. You also shoot swords. You fly on dragons. I know there's some people who think that this isn't Doom anymore, but I think it's fun, it's innovative, and when the overall game feels like the people who made it were having fun playing with it and making the game, it communicates to me that the game will probably be just as fun. And it really set a very playful tone for the entire showcase to kick off with. Now, the other two big heavy hitters of reveals, in my opinion, were Perfect Dark, which had also been rumored for a very long time. This game was supposed to be completely dead. It had failed, it had lost its direction, Microsoft was not happy at all with where it was going. They brought Crystal Dynamics in to help fix it up, and it turns out that they're just making an immersive sim. That's kind of crazy, right? Because if only Microsoft had like a really good studio, like maybe the best in the world at making immersive sims, huh? Well, one can dream, I guess. But Perfect Dark looks very different and still kind of like Perfect Dark in a way. The fact that it looks, at least, like it's going down a more immersive sim route, open-ended levels, that it has this parkour system that was kind of like Mirror's Edge in a way, or Dying Light. It looks very promising. It looked really good, especially if you put it in the context of all the rumors that there have been that the game was like super dead and very bad. Of course, there's no date on it yet, but we got to see actual gameplay. We got to see the game running, and it was very promising. And of course, the heavy hitter, the showstopper, Gears of War E-Day. Now, I know that for a lot of people, Xbox is synonymous with Halo, but for those of us who really jumped ship to Xbox during the 360 era, which I think was a lot of people, I think Gears of War symbolizes more of an Xbox era than Halo. And Halo, which was, you know, very suspiciously absent completely from the showcase, as well as there was no Forza Horizon. Gears of War was such a refreshing thing to see that I think it closed out the show with everybody so excited about it that we forgot all about the things that weren't there. Taking Gears of War back to E-Day, to such an important part of the Gears of War storyline, and having Marcus and Dom back again to play Mad World, which, yes, I'm aware that there's apparently only like 6 songs that we can use for trailers now, and Mad World is one of them, but this is Gears of War. Going back to that theme, reinterpreting it, having the chords of it play through the beginning of the trailer, where I was thinking I was losing my mind in a very emotional way of like, wait, that's Mad World. That's like an orchestral rendition of Mad World behind it. To then have Dom show up and pick Marcus up and have Mad World play hit exactly the way that it needed to hit. Many people have reacted to the Gears of War announcement with, yes, God, Gears. Thank the Lord, Marcus and Dom, we're back, we're so back. And I feel exactly the same. I have a nostalgia for Gears of War that is not an active nostalgia. I don't feel it every day like I do with other franchises. But it's one of those things that I'm just happy to see every time it shows up. And they managed to squeeze out a nostalgia from me that was very intense, and I'm very excited for it. This cinematic trailer, which was apparently done by Blur, the studio famous for doing a ton of CGI trailers, but contrary to what Jeff Keighley says, according to people at Microsoft, at Xbox, at the Coalition, is not a completely CGI trailer. It is directed and done by Studio Blur, but completely within Unreal Engine 5 and using all of the assets that they already have for Gears of War E-Day. And it looked incredible. Also, Jeff, maybe don't tweet stuff out if you're not sure about it, because it seems like all of the people at Xbox are really sure that what you said isn't the case, so careful with that. Now, those three big reveals were very much spaced out at the start, at the middle, and at the end of the show. But this is the nature of a good, well-paced showcase. As I said, a lot of the things that would otherwise not be that great felt very elevated because of everything else. It was all really well structured together. And as such, a lot of the games that I had more reservations on came out this time and looked a lot better than I had seen them before. Primarily, for me, it was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Avowed. I had overall been very hesitant at the idea of taking machine games and giving them, a licensed game in the case of Indiana Jones. But there was something about the choice of having a more dialogue-heavy, a more in-game cinematic part here and just showing you what is basically cutscenes that I think worked really well, because it made me feel like these guys understand the tone of indie and that they have a good solid grasp of how they want to do it. There are moments in this trailer that I was like, wait, that voice is just Harrison Ford. And those lines would be things that Harrison Ford, that indie would say. It was playful in a very Indiana Jones-esque way that had me smiling. I don't think this is a massive game. Unfortunately, Machine Games' Wolfenstein games were also not massive despite being excellent. I think this is a fantastic Game Pass game that I'm just really excited to sink myself into for probably a 20-hour storyline, have a great time, and maybe think about it from time to time. I thought it wasn't going to even be that, but now I'm pretty confident that it will. No release date on it though, and I had heard through the grapevine, through some emails and stuff, when the release date was supposed to be, and I'm surprised that it's not that, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later. I think that this game would have been great around August or September at the latest, so we're gonna have to wait and see on that. Another one without a release date but that looked much better than last time was Avowed, and I don't really know what the difference here is. There's simply a feeling about Avowed this time around compared to the most recent showcase that was like a demo of gameplay, that maybe it's the cutting it to the music and showing off so much more spells and cool armors and weapons and all of these different locations and the grandiose scope of it that really communicated to me that Avowed is what I thought it was going to be, which is a baby between Skyrim's scope and some more arena-style combat, I feel like, with some Obsidian writing in the middle. Just a game that you want to sit down, explore. Maybe it's going to be smaller in scope, I don't know. But if this is a 50-60 hour RPG where we get to explore a really cool world and go into those typical RPG trappings, that Skyrim energy from it, I am super into what they showed. I guess that at this point, what I'm saying is these games felt more real. They felt like actual video games that make sense and that I can get excited for. But that overall tone of the presentation helps. It was a positive tone. We were moving in good directions. We were getting excited for game after game, for reveals, for things that people care about. Not as many people are talking about things like the Starfield expansion, which, hey, I've had many things to say about Starfield, but it is exploring the Va'ruun, which is the thing that I was most disappointed about from base Starfield, is that I couldn't explore the Va'ruun, which I thought was going to be a faction and it looked like the most interesting one. So, hey, I'll play it. Like, even something that I have such a negative reaction towards as Starfield, I felt the vibe carry me to, hey, but it's the Varun, maybe. State of Decay 3 was also showcased, which does look pretty damn good. Again, it's one of those games that I think benefits from Game Pass, or maybe being a $40 game, or maybe knowing more about it and how big it is or what they're trying to do with it. Fallout 76 got showcased as well with their first big landmass expansion of the actual game world that isn't one of the expeditions that you go on, which is great for the people who love Fallout 76. I've already covered that game. I think it's good. It's not great and it's not bad. It's finally good. In a much more exciting thing, and according to the views on the trailer, I think a lot of people were surprised and very positive on this. And sorry, I'm going to be pretentious and actually try and pronounce this correctly. Clair Obscur. I know how to say it in Italian. Chiaroscuro. Expedition 33 looks really damn good. I just want to take you on a journey with me. When I was watching this trailer, my reactions were, okay, this is something. I don't know what it is, but it seems kind of cool. I like this vibe. I don't know what's going on with the weird woman painting stuff. It's got a bit of the Dishonored steampunkish vibe to it, and I'm always down for that. And then they transitioned to like the characters actually moving in the game world, and I started flipping out with like, damn, wait, this looks really good. Like the art direction on this is on point. This is crazy. Look at how cool these areas are. And then they showed the combat, and I lost my mind. Oh my god, it's a turn-based RPG. I am so ready. There are highs that I chase in my life, and good turn-based RPGs is one of them. It's got active combat in a sense of like you have to time button presses, and you can actively dodge, and you can counter with button presses. You can aim weapons at weak points with complete free aim. I'm like, yo, this is looking great. Then they show Pontiff Sullivan, and he's got 2 lightsaber katanas. I have no clue what's going on. Ben Starr is one of the voice actors. Man, I am so excited for Expedition 33. Complete surprise out of left field. I have really high hopes for this game. Great stuff. Kept that momentum going of just like surprises. It just really felt like a game. The Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred trailer, it just showed us that, man, Blizzard does like incredible CGI. Like they really do. They have some of the best cinematics in the business, and this cinematic was just really intense. I think I had never like jumped at a cinematic like in a jump scare type way till this, because it just was really good at creating an atmosphere. And I think it's a shot where they're like focusing on the water and something happens. I was like, damn, whoa, what was that? Because they set an atmosphere and a tone that, while obviously has nothing to do with gameplay, and they didn't talk about what's actually in the gameplay of the expansion, it made me go like, man, I should play some Diablo 4 when that expansion rolls out. Haven't played it since it was terrible. It's supposed to be good now. I should go check it out. And that's what they wanted to accomplish, right? They came out firing. Age of Mythology Retold has also been fairly popular, and I'm sure that people are very excited for that. Metal Gear Solid Delta, along with its website, which has some extra details, incredibly, from what it seems, incredibly faithful. And they chose some perfect moments to showcase how faithful they are being to the original Metal Gear Solid 3. I think that the moment that Snake, Big Boss, Naked Snake, whatever, jumps from the plane is seared into my mind, like very, very clearly, since I played Metal Gear Solid 3. And just seeing that, like, the animation on it, it looks identical. I was like, these guys are just making this game. Which is interesting. I think that there's going to be a conversation to be had about, you know, if this is just a one-to-one remake, some people might be like, hey, this wasn't necessary, because a lot of the things that they are changing, like the control scheme, they talk about, you know, it's got basically the Metal Gear Solid 5 control scheme is in the game, although you can switch the camera from the classic top-down as well, or the subsistence completely free 3D camera, but you can control Snake in this more modern way. But if the entire game is just identical, like, I respect that. I think that's fine. I think that's better than the alternative of Konami, because this is Konami. Like, this shouldn't be good. This shouldn't be something that I think positively of, but hey, I guess we're gonna give Konami a chance. I guess. They got David Hayter, at least. There might be a very interesting conversation to be had here that, in the right hands, more than just a one-to-one remake, this could have been a re-envisioning of all of Metal Gear Solid 3 to make all of the sections of the world interconnected and larger and expand the gameplay to kind of Metal Gear Solid 5, what Metal Gear Solid 3 is, and that would have been a really cool thing. But the save side is just make the same excellent game again. That seems to be what they're doing. Looks way better than I thought. Just, that's like the theme of the Xbox Showcase. There were other smaller things that I do want to highlight. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers looks like a game. I'm interested in it because anything that is coming from like Chinese mythology and lore and very Soulsian, and we've had a lot of games like that at the moment for one reason or another, looked good. It kind of felt like I was back in State of Play though, since State of Play had like 2 of those, but it looked fine. Stalker 2 continues to look incredible. I am very excited. That is 100% my type of game. Atomfall from Rebellion is weird. I have no idea what it is, but it caught my interest. Mecha Break, which was also shown at Summer Games Fest, looks really fun. We got to see like gameplay here. I'm not into Life is Strange much. I tried in my day, but I have heard from people that are very excited at the return of the protagonist of Max Caulfield. I am incredibly happy for you. Congratulations. Now, there were some losers, and I'm going to go from least loser to most loser here. Sarah Bond talking about game preservation while announcing an Xbox Series X that's only digital is hilarious. The moments when Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and Sarah Bond were on screen, they reminded me that these are the same people who have very recently tried to do some terrible damage control on the Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks situation, and that made me sad. Fragpunk. Another hero shooter. Wow. So exciting. Great. South of Midnight. Now, I think that this game looks really cool. The combat did not look exciting, and I still am not sure what this game is. Is this like a 3D platformer type of vibe going on here? Is this an open world type of thing where I ride a catfish? How much of this game is just exploration? How much of it is combat? How much of it is narrative focused? It's definitely got vibes to it. And my overall impression was positive. But I think that leaving me with way more questions than I ever had about this game didn't leave me feeling that good upon like further thinking on it. I really want this game to be good because I like championing more original, creative ideas and new IP. The stop-motion, almost claymation look that the game has, I think, is just awesome. And setting a game like this in this smooth-talking catfish is exciting to me. I like showing new stuff in games. But then when it comes to the gameplay, I'm just very confused at all the floatiness and the grappling hookiness and the combat looking kind of So I'm putting it in losers because I'm just not sure about it yet. Fable. This is another one where I'm putting it in losers, but it's more because it's like loser contextually compared to the rest of the showcase. I love Fable. It's another one of those games like Gears where I don't think about it, but whenever it enters my mind, I have a huge smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, Fable. Fable was great. Fable 2, man. Great game. Even Fable 3, great game. And I get bringing back Fable, but I'm very confused at this game. Firstly, there was not a lot of gameplay shown, and it doesn't even feel like gameplay. But I do trust Playground Games. They're great developers, right? The tone and the writing, which is more of what they show off here, is definitely in the Fable ballpark. I don't think it's as exaggerated, as camp as Fable can be, where it's just like ridiculous levels of obviously villains and heroes. But it was definitely Fable. That felt like it was there. But the way that they talk about choice in the trailer, when we still keep getting this main character that they show without any confirmation of like, is this a set in stone character or not, does bother me. I normally have no problem. Hey, you wanted to make your protagonist this or that, whatever, I don't care. If you're committed to the vision, and if at the end of the day the game is good, I don't care. I'm here to play games. I'm not here to talk about what the main character looks like or something. But this is Fable, and you yourself are saying in the trailer that choices matter. Can I make my own character? How ridiculous is this going to get? Am I going to grow horns if I choose to consistently torture every orphan I find? What is this game? Is this more linear? Is this more narrative focused? Is this going to be like old Fable? Are we taking it in the, I guess, more expected open world direction? What is Fable? I'm glad that you guys are following the tone, but now we have this problem because this feels like Fable. So you can't be like, well, just call it something else because it's obviously trying to be that. But where is my choices? Where are the other things that clearly identify Fable? Because I do think that this game will be interesting. It will probably be very good. Playground Games looks like they're putting their all. They're putting their effort 100% into making something here that looks incredible and that we, again, kind of like South of Midnight, have a lot of questions about. But I just want to know how much Fable is in my Fable. And finally, for me, the biggest loser of the entire thing was Dragon Age The Veilguard. A lot has been said around Dragon Age The Veilguard, and like, for me, the best way to describe it is I felt like they were showing me a multiplayer spin-off that's like a co-op hero shooter type of thing, except, you know, it's obviously not a hero shooter. I guess, like, is this Dragon Age but Gauntlet? That was my feeling. And I went back to check on previous trailers because people were like, well, it looks that bad because they chose, you know, this David Bowie Heroes cover. We can only have 3 songs in the history of video game trailers, and this is one of them, right? So we got a slowed down dramatic version of Heroes, and that didn't feel like on brand or communicate the tone of Dragon Age. No, go back if you want. Dragon Age's trailers have been using licensed music since the start. That's not the issue. That's not the problem here. The problem is that these big, bold letters with the freeze frame of like, and this character is the Mage Killer, and this character is the Veil Jumper, and this character is the Warden. I'm like, that felt hero shootery. That felt cartoonish, caricaturish. That didn't communicate to me like the depth and complexity of these characters in this world and what the high stakes are. It felt like they were setting up a weird heist movie. Now I'm hoping that this is another case of just a really bad trailer and bad optics, and that in reality, it's going to be good, and that this isn't like a development disaster. It's been in development for ages, almost Dragon Ages, I would say, and now they're going to release it just like the best they can of what they've managed to cobble together. And this is supposed to be the next big Dragon Age thing, but it feels this way because of a bad trailer. That's what I'm hoping for. But my initial reaction to the trailer was, this aesthetic is weird, this tone doesn't feel like Dragon Age, this feels like you're presenting some multiplayer spin-off. And upon second viewing, it was just, I think this is bad, and also there's no gameplay. My third viewing though, I was like, hey, there's stuff here. Maybe it's just a horrible choice. But my overall feeling on Dragon Age The Veilguard is I don't feel confident where this is going, and I need to see more like ASAP. Please. I love Dragon Age 1. I actually don't think Dragon Age 2 is terrible. I really like Dragon Age Inquisition, which I know is a point of contention for a lot of people. I actually really like Inquisition. I like those characters. I like the gameplay changes that they did, the format that they tried to implement. I thought was very unique, and I like Dragon Age a whole lot, you know, not as much as Mass Effect, but like Dragon Age Inquisition, which is very much contemporary with Mass Effect, is a game that I hold very near and dear to my heart, and Dragon Age 1, which is much more of a traditional CRPG type of deal, I think is great. I think this universe is so cool. It is the spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate. There is a lot riding on this franchise and a lot of potential in it. Didn't feel good in the end. But overall, Xbox absolutely blew everybody else out of the water. This felt like we were back at E3. I think it's great to see Xbox doing this. I don't want to dig too much into it, but they said that they are working on the next generation of Xbox, which was in a way them committing to, we're not getting out of the hardware game, which I think we all know they're not getting out, but they are maybe changing, much like the entire industry is changing. But it did, in my mind, I saw for a split second a world where Xbox doubles down with the quality of this type of showcase in the games they're showing, and if these games can deliver, which is a big problem for Xbox, but if they can deliver on these games and be like, hey, we now make a ton of games, we are this giant company now, and we can push out tons of cool things and take the risks that others aren't, which is completely contrary to things like shutting down the studios that they just shut down. But there is a hypothesis somewhere where Xbox does like the PS2 thing, or the thing that they did with 360 again, and they come out with the next generation Xbox hardware before the PlayStation 6, and they're like, hey, we're positioning ourselves on the market. We're the ones who have not just Game Pass, but we put actually good games on Game Pass at a good rate, right? And they kind of show up Sony a little bit of that, 2000s energy, where Xbox could survive, where Xbox could exist, and I think that competition is absolutely necessary to keep the space healthy. I have many more thoughts on the industry and AA and indie developers to comment on, and I might make a video on it. This is already an incredibly long video, but it made me feel good about Xbox again, which not erasing those previous things, but a good showcase. Gotta give credit where it's due. Also, I don't care, because I will never buy an Xbox console again, because their commitment to PC means that I will play all of their things on PC, which means that I'm very happy with that, but also that I'm invested very directly in Xbox as a PC gamer, because what they do is things that I get to play. All right, I forgot. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I love Call of Duty. I'm a lapsed player like many. I've fallen off the Call of Duty train, and I've gotten back on many times. I will be playing Black Ops 6. It's on Game Pass, so that's not even a problem anymore of like spending the money on it, and it looks good. I love round-based zombies. I think doing the in-depth dive, like the 25-minute special showcase for Black Ops 6 was really smart, because it showcased that these guys seem to have quite a lot of passion and have put a lot of thought into what they're doing. So that's the biggest compliment I can give it. And another good thing. There you go. Anyways, that's my opinion on it. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your winners and losers. If I skipped over anything in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons that go the extra mile in supporting me up on the $1 patron wall. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want more from me, check out the channel and then maybe even subscribe. And as always, I will see you again very soon.